Hello, this is Sarah Dianese, and I am presenting my research on the topic of one-to-one technology. So this is not a Band-Aid, one-to-one technology in the classroom. So my research question for this assignment was, to what extent does one-to-one technology impact student achievement and motivation? This was a very timely question for me to ask because my school just implemented one-to-one technology in January of this year. Each student has a Chromebook that they take with them home and they bring back to class, and it is their responsibility. So when doing my research, I came up with a couple findings. First, that when anybody is implementing one-to-one technology, they should expect that there are going to be a lot of challenges that come with it. For example, one research article I looked at studied fourth graders. It was two classrooms. It compared a classroom without computers to a classroom with one-to-one. And those researchers wanted to see what was the impact of the computers on attendance at school and achievement on standardized tests. And they found that there was no significant impact on attendance or on achievement on these tests. A middle school study found the same thing when it comes to achievement. If you look to the top left, you will see a quote that kind of describes that more. It says, although students from one-to-one schools had high interest, motivation, and belief in the benefits of using laptops, the examination student performance did not show positive impact of the laptops on students' state test scores. So it's not an immediate fix. Just putting these computers in front of these kids is not going to guarantee that the scores will increase. And I've seen the same thing in my experience at my high school. Some students just choose not to come to school anymore because they know that whatever they miss, they can get online. A lot of teachers don't use the laptops in a transformative way, so that doesn't necessarily increase student learning or achievement in any way. It really leads into the next point that staff also needs extensive training in order to properly utilize these tools. For example, bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that from one of the articles at a middle school study, they studied two different teams and the way that they used their one-to-one technology and how their training occurred. And they found that the engagers, which was one of the teams, teachers' extensive collaboration with their peers was poorly aligned with the needs of their team. So for their professional development, learning how to use their technology, their team was just working with other teachers who had just as much experience as they did. In order to properly implement one-to-one technology, you need experts to come in and to teach your staff really how to use the tools as more than just expensive notepads. At a Louisiana high school, the same thing was found. That was a qualitative study, and teachers reported that their biggest challenge with their one-to-one technology was that they had a lack of professional development and support from staff and staff and administration when it came to utilizing these items in their school. They didn't feel properly prepared. Basically, they were given the technology and let go. The third finding was that student age usually determines the success of the initiative. So in the fourth grade study, the kids were super excited to use the computers, and the researchers even said that that motivated them a little bit, but that didn't necessarily translate into higher test scores. The Michigan Middle School, again, up top left, it tells you that the kids, again, were very excited about the computers. It didn't still automatically translate into higher test scores, but they were very excited about it. However, I will tell you, in my personal experience working with high school students, seniors specifically, many of them are not very excited about the computers, mostly because they have computers, they have cell phones, they have more exciting technology available to them regularly, and they also feel that at this point in their education, they shouldn't be forced to learn a new technology. So it would probably be beneficial for schools looking to implement one-to-one technology to start it at the lower grades and to move up, because then you will have a better reception and students who know how to use the technology. You don't have to start from the beginning every year. So based on those findings, some recommendations for stakeholders. Should you avoid using one-to-one technology? Absolutely not. It's great. It's certainly worth it. However, people need to be prepared to address the issues that come with implementation. Now, this means teachers, staff, administration, school boards. Everybody needs to know that it's going to be a while before the schools are able to appropriately implement this technology. They also have to be willing to invest in quality professional development, which is led by experts. Just saying, teachers go ahead and lead a session for your other teachers about something with the computers is not necessarily going to lead to teachers doing transformative things. They need to speak with people who are experts in this in order to fully understand and utilize the tools for what they really are. Third, people who are in charge of rolling out one-to-one initiatives should consider starting the implementation with the lower grades when the kids are more receptive to it and when they're going to get more use out of it as they move through the years. So some reflection on the research that I did use both qualitative and quantitative studies. They are appropriate for this topic because you want to get the hard numbers, what's the attendance data, what is the achievement data, but then you also want to speak to students about how are you using these, what are your feelings. So mixed methods design, I did use a mixed methods study that is probably the most appropriate for this type of research. I did run into some problems with sample sizes. Very small sample sizes for quantitative studies, for example. There was also very limited research due to the newness of this initiative. Really, this only started maybe within the last less than 10 years. Schools have really started picking up on giving a piece of technology to every single student. And I also was not really able to find research that talked about tablet initiatives like iPads. It was all laptop studies, which is fine because that's what we use, but it would have been nice to see some other research. The last thing is most of the studies I found were actually with lower grade levels than what I teach. I teach high school, and most of the studies were with elementary school or with middle school, or they were very region specific, which is a difficulty. In addition, there were also some extraneous variables that could be addressed better, such as in that fourth grade study, they talked about attendance being an issue and, maybe the kids just didn't come to school. If you're in fourth grade, you can't really control when you're not coming to school, and the computers might not have implemented that. So that would need to be addressed a little bit more as well. Some future research topics that people looking into one-to-one initiatives could address. Like I just mentioned, the types of one-to-one technology, what's the difference between the effectiveness of tablets versus computers versus what have you, iPods, other things like that. Effects of a rollout time period. So, are you rolling this out over 6 months, over a year, over 2 years? Are you rolling it out in the beginning of the school year or like my school did in the middle? How does that affect the impact of the initiative? How does this affect district budgets? Are schools stopping the purchase of textbooks because now they have these electronic devices where they can get e-textbooks? Is that actually saving money for the district in the long run? And again, like I mentioned, it would be nice to see more about secondary student achievement with one-to-one technology because it was difficult to find research on that. A lot of that was based toward the lower grades. So here are my references. And thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, you'd just like to talk about one-to-one initiatives, feel free to contact me. My Cabrini email is right there. And I hope you enjoy your day.